Who's that guy with nothing? Is that you?
What's up?
Who are those people waving?
Oh, I have no idea. This is like Canva, like background stuff. All right, cool. You guys ready?
Yep.
Sweet. Hey, welcome. This is Jay Noller from 208 Travel Agency, and I'm incredibly excited to be coming to you today to do our first ever Oh Beach Please live stream. We're excited to be starting this weekly informational stream. We're going to be inviting the experts from some of our top resorts, cruises, and travel destinations from around the world. But this week, we're excited to have not one, but actually two special guests from Sandals and Beaches Resorts. And if you've been following us, Sandals and Beaches Resorts are some of our favorite resorts to be able to send people to. Now, I am humbled because you might recognize them actually from their own show, Two BDMs and a Mic. That's right. We have the one and only James and Christy from Sandals and Beaches Resorts. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hi, Jay. Thanks for having us on today. I'm doing good.
What's going on, Jay?
Hey, buddy. How's it going?
Hey, it's great. I feel like we used to do this a lot on a whole different level.
I know. We're just a Google search away from having our whole history blown up on the internet, which is pretty awesome. But for those folks who don't know, I want to give you guys an opportunity to kind of talk about what you do in your roles with Sandals and Beaches, where you're from, and how you ended up on this podcast.
James, I'll let you.
No, you first. You first, Christy. You
first. Okay, ladies first, right? Well, my name is Christy Konopacki. I'm originally from Wisconsin, so I'm a diehard Packer fan. Ended up in Minnesota working for Sandals and Beaches Resorts, where I cover Minnesota and North Dakota. Beautiful states in the wintertime, let me tell you. It actually snowed yesterday, and it was April 2nd, so that's fun. But I love it in the winter times, or in the summertime, lots of lakes. I like going out on the river, patios, beautiful time in the summertime. Wintertime would not recommend, but. Hey,
James, not to call her out very quickly within the first 2 minutes of this. Did you notice it when she said she was from Wisconsin? Like it came like that accent came in really hard.
Yeah.
And then when she said she's in Minnesota, like that accent, like regional dialect came in pretty hard as well.
Yeah. She throws the accent around quite a bit.
So James, I'm expecting your best cowboy right now being from North Texas.
Yeah. Yeehaw. OHIO all day, buddy. I might live in Texas, but Ohio has my heart. My background is a little bit of everything. I worked in resorts for a really long time with a couple different companies. I had worked with a cruise company for a while, and then I ended up at Sandals. It's the best thing that's really ever happened to me. I've been here for just over 5 years, just celebrated my 5-year anniversary. And it's been phenomenal. Christy and I kicked off the Two BDMs and a Mic podcast last November, and we actually won an award for it, thanks to Garth Laird, our vice president. And it's just kind of just taken off, and that success is really just to travel advisors like yourself that have really supported us, and so we appreciate being on your show. And of course, Jay, if like you said, if anyone looks us up, they can go back to our nerd days of a lot of gaming podcast stuff.
I'm gonna have to do that because I need some ammo now.
No, you don't want to
do me. I'm gonna get some ammo.
Listen, first of all, Jake, Christy complains that I never let her have the microphone. You ask us to introduce ourselves. I try to be quiet, and she just sits there like,
what do I do?
Yeah, so listen, I tried to give you the attention.
Look, I feel like I'm like, what is it, Edna Mode from The Incredibles? I never look back, darling. We don't look at the previous podcast. We don't do anything.
No. The later ones weren't bad, but the early, they looked horrible.
Yeah, it's a little rough. So, but I'm really glad you guys came on, and I really kind of want to talk. Obviously, 208 Travel Agency is a massive supporter, especially myself, a member of the Chairman's Royal Club. We're a preferred Sandals agency. And I just kind of want to throw it out there to each of you, because everyone's got their own kind of unique take on what a Sandals or Beaches vacation really means to them and what stands out. So I want to get the experts. So James, can you talk to us about what makes Sandals so unique compared to other all-inclusive resorts?
I would say compared to all. So I love that you brought up that point, Jay, because a lot of times people say, oh, on vacation, this 5-star resort, you have to put Sandals in the category that it belongs in, right? So the all-inclusive world we're talking. And what a lot of people don't understand in the all-inclusive world, and I've worked, like I said, I've worked for a number of other companies in the resorts, right? So not just on the business development side. So I know what it's like there. There might just be a buffet that changes every meal, right? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yeah, it's a different buffet, but it's one restaurant. It's a buffet. You might have all-inclusives that don't include alcohol. So now you got to buy an alcohol package. When you're talking about Sandals, the fact that it's total all-inclusive, everything from alcohol in your room to any alcohol you want at the bar, there's no top shelf, difference either. It's not like, oh, I want the top shelf, so I got to pay extra for that package. It's not.
Right.
If you want a lobster tail at your dinner, you go to Butch's Chop House and you want a lobster tail, it's not $50 extra for the lobster tail. Everything is there. Of course, there are some things that you can purchase, high-end bottles of wine, things like that everybody does. But we're talking total all-inclusive, leave your wallet in your room, no tipping at the resorts. It really just puts it on a different stage. So I would say that's really what separates Sandals. And then you're talking about giving you a level of quality from the service and the things that are the inclusions in your room and just the look and the vibe and where we at, I think really sets us apart.
That's a hell of a description. All right, Christy, what do you got?
Good luck.
Take it away, I guess. I mean, he summed it up really well, but something that I would add is it's the little details that Sandals and Beaches puts into the resort, not only just in the rooms, but around the resort. So for example, in the rooms, you've got the mini speakers. They also started doing the miniature size of liquor bottles so that you can take those down to the beach, or you can take them home with you, or it's the little welcome snack that they are starting to put in rooms, the local chocolate. So you get just right when you get to your room, you're trying something local from the island, which I absolutely love. And like James said, a lot of people don't know about the no tipping policy. So, I'm always telling when I'm working a bridal show, you put your wallet away, like you said, and you're not touching that until you're leaving. So I'm like saving money when I'm going on resort, right? It's like girl math, but vacation math.
We've got a lot of clients that do that. They book 12 months, 18 months out with a $400 deposit. It makes it incredibly easy just to reserve your room because, as we know, prices go up when you get there. But they call me once a month and throw a couple $100 on it. And then that way they've already prepaid for everything. And I tell my clients all the time, take your wallet, take your passport, throw it in the in-room safe. And you don't have to worry about a wristband or a towel or,
Yes.
oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, what room are you in? You're not allowed in that pool. You have to go over there.
Yes. That's a big standout too.
Which is something that I think there's a lot of all-inclusives that do that. I've been to a few resorts that are like that. And, there's a product for everyone. But with Sandals and Beaches, I know that when I go down there, my clients are always going to be happy. It's the one supplier that we use to send our clients that we recommend to that I never have to worry about their experience once they get on the island. Now, here's going to be the tough question. And I promised everyone these episodes are going to be 30 minutes. So we are rapid fire this whole time.
Rapid fire.
Christy, what is your favorite Sandals resort and why?
I love this question. And my answer, it does change depending on my mood. So currently, my favorite resort is Sandals Royal Curacao. And that's probably because I didn't just get back, but I recently vacationed there. So, I'm truly experiencing it like a true client would. So I'm in the pool, I'm playing all the games, I'm watching the entertainment, I'm eating 7 meals a day, but I just love the entertainment there. They had the entertainment from midday to night, and I do like to go to bed early, and the entertainment did stop around 10 p.m., which I personally thought was perfect timing for those that might want a little bit of shut-eye. But if you are looking to still have fun, you can always find it. There's always somewhere that you're going to find the fun if you're looking for something after 10 at Curacao. And it's just a beautiful island. Curacao, so welcoming. The people there are phenomenal. Beautiful island, lots of different things to do, especially, trying the different restaurants on the island. But Curacao right now is my favorite. Can't say too much about St. Vincent yet. I need to spend more time there.
Yeah, Garth, if you're listening, they need to spend more time in St. Vincent is what I heard.
Yeah, hopefully soon come. Soon come. I think we have some things coming up. Jay, I just want to point out that I followed Christy up maybe a week or two after she was in Curacao, and this is how I was recognized. Oh, you're that guy on that show with Christy. That's how I was recognized by people.
Welcome to being a necessity.
Christy became apparently famous. I'm not sure exactly what all went on during her vacation, but everyone at Curacao knew exactly who Christy was. So
I'm a talker. I'm talking to everybody in the pool. I'm sitting at the bar. I'm talking to them. It doesn't matter who it is, when it is. I'm striking up a conversation.
Jay, for me, I'm going to give you a couple different answers here. Because I don't want to dismiss.
I promise 30 minutes on these episodes.
They're going to be quick. They're going to be quick.
Okay. All right.
I want to give you reasons why. So you know me as the resort worker, and you've known me for quite a long time. You were in my wedding. You're one of my best friends, actually. And I love to be on the resort, right? That is my safe place with my background and my history. So I connect with the staff quite a bit, especially the entertainment teams, the childcare teams. So Turks and Caicos is always going to have a special place in my heart, and it really comes down to the staff. Tanya Swan, the sales manager there, the entertainment team is phenomenal. Jamie McAnally, just the way everything is there and the way that they take care of things, it's great. On the flip side, when you look at Sandals, Barbados is, I'm always afraid of recency bias. So it's kind of like saying St. Vincent right now is a little tough, but Barbados is great because I like to be very active. And the fact that there's always something to do. Again, the entertainment team is great. The sales team is phenomenal there. But I do want to give a shout out to St. Vincent. And I think that the reason St. Vincent is my favorite is I've lived in the Caribbean, not just working for Sandals, but working with other resorts. I've lived in the Caribbean. I've lived on 8 different islands. I have never been wowed as much as I was when I got to St. Vincent. I was just, you can see the background behind me. This resort sits in a valley. Like, I've never been to a resort in the Caribbean where I looked more towards the land than I did to the ocean. My eyes just kept getting drawn back to the mountains. Every time I walked out of my room, I look right to the mountains. Normally, I walk out of my room like, ooh, I just want to see the ocean. I might not go down to it, but I just want to see it. So the fact that was drawing me away from the ocean a lot, I found that really, really stood out. So that's I'm probably going to lean towards there. But I want to give the other shout out to the other two and why they're been my favorites over the years.
No, love that. And big shout out to the people over at Beaches, Turks and Caicos, Tanya and Jamie. Those guys are absolutely awesome. That team out there is phenomenal. As a matter of fact, I think the background that we have on the today is actually a picture of the water that I took while I was out there. So big shout out to Turks and Caicos.
Wow.
Now, something that doesn't get talked about enough because obviously you guys are big proponents of Sandals and Beaches Resorts and everything, but one of the things that doesn't get talked about enough, I think, is the excursions. 208 Travel Agency, we're a big believer in using island routes. There's a couple reasons for that. We love the fact island routes really encompasses the entire Caribbean, whether you're staying at a Sandals resort or not. But the other piece of that is it's very rare to find a island excursion desk actually in the lobby of your hotel. So, with the separation and the operations being so intertwined between Sandals and Beaches and island routes, it works out great for the clients because you always want to be able to stop by and be like, hey, what time am I supposed to be down here? What am I supposed to be wearing? What kind of shoes? All of those questions that we cover, but it's always nice because you don't have to look at your email. You can actually just go down and put a face to a name with the company and they can help you out when they get in the lobby. So I have never seen you guys been asked this question before. And we're going to start with James. What is your favorite excursion and on what island is that excursion on?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. But I'm going to go ahead and say swimming with the pigs at Emerald Bay. And the reason I'm going to say that is because for 4 years I worked for the company before I did this excursion. And I just kind of always assumed it was, you get in the boat, you take the shuttle, you get to the boat, you go swim with the pigs and you come back and you go back to the resort. It's a couple hours and that is what it is. Bro, the swimming with the pigs is like 5 minutes. I don't know. I think it's longer than that, right? You have a lot of time, but it is such a small portion of this overall excursion. What Island Routes puts together and the local companies that they work with to put these excursions together, the things, On the way there, we stopped at, they called like the Blue Hole. I'm sure there's a lot of blue holes, but the darkest blue water I've ever seen that we could just snorkel. Then we went and swam with the pigs. Then we left the pigs. Then we went to water that was clearer than the water that you have on your background right now. And they called it bathtub water. And you got out and it was like waist deep and everyone's just walking around on sandbars. Then they toured all these like islands and showed us and told us all the famous people that lived there and who was building what and who was doing what. Then we went to another island that had iguanas. And then we went and snorkeled somewhere else. This was like 7 hours. Like I was exhausted by the time I got back, but I had never seen, even as someone that's lived in the Caribbean, like if you want to see water that is next level, like the Exumas, just the overall experience, the happiness that they made everyone have on the boat, and just the togetherness that they have. You know how Island Roots does a lot of their catamaran cruises. So put a catamaran cruise and then add all these other things to it. That's basically what it was. And it was honestly probably the most complete. You know, I went with my wife and we just had an absolute blast the entire day. So that I'm gonna say that's probably my favorite right now, just because again, I was not prepared for how much was included. And I think sometimes Island Roots, maybe it's something that it's like you get the name of the tour and you think that's it, but there's always so much more to the tour than what the main name is. And you get so much. And that's what I was impressed with.
Yeah, whenever we sit down with a client, we, our process is, as we get a little bit closer to the vacation, we start talking about excursions and what you want to do. And that you're absolutely right. That inevitably comes up as we're talking about this. And I'm like, oh yeah, swimming with the pigs is like 7 hours. And they go, what? You're swimming with the pigs for 6 hours? I'm like, no. There is so much more.
Much more.
Yeah.
And you'll appreciate this, James. So, last time I went down to Emerald Bay, I took my drone shots of the Emerald Bay with the water, and I've taken those to trade shows with me because nobody believes that the water looks like the brochure. And so I had to go out and shoot video specifically from an aerial standpoint, so I didn't look like a liar, because you look at the brochures, you can look at the website, and you're like, there's no way it looks like that. I'm like, no, seriously, I have my own video. It's crazy. So yeah. So, all right, Christy.
I know.
Favorite excursion, favorite island, not allowed to say pigs.
I know. And this is how I know James and I have been working together for a little bit now, as we can kind of read minds, because he's definitely stole my top excursion as well, swimming with the pigs. So honestly, you put me on a boat anywhere and I'm going to be a happy gal. So one of my favorite ones is the Sunset Catamaran Cruise, which you can find at almost any destination that a Sandals or Beaches resort has. So the staff is always phenomenal. They're always mix and mingling with all of the people on the boat. It's a fun vibe. It's really a great time to end the day watching the sunset in the Caribbean. You go snorkeling, they feed you, they kept you well, I shouldn't say hydrated, but the drinks are flowing. It's always a good time on a catamaran cruise. You put a couple girls together on a catamaran and it's going to be a good time. So but right, I would have said the pigs, but I would have said the pigs as well, because I was lucky enough to be on a random Tuesday day, just hopping around islands in the Bahamas. And I'm just thinking to myself, what is this life? Like, how did I get so lucky to just be able to see this? I call it Gatorade blue water, by the way. It's Gatorade blue water. It's so clear. It's just refreshing.
I like to call it Windex, but you might be too young for that.
Windex. I know what Windex is, and I know what color it is, but
that's what people say, that they actually bottled Windex out of the Exuma water. That is a saying. I didn't make that up. That is a saying I heard.
Interesting.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, I'm a huge fan of the catamaran cruise. And for those folks that are out there, like, it took a little bit for them to be able to get me on a catamaran. I'm not proud to admit this. I know it's not my fault, but I don't talk about it. I am not good on a boat. I am not good. I get motion sick and everything.
You're a diver.
Yeah, that's under the water. I don't like put my gear on and then stand there and look at the water like I'm in the water. It's fine. But with the catamaran, for those the reggae cruises, the sunset cruises, even the family one, I am absolutely okay being on one. because of how smooth it is. So it's not like you go out there and you're expecting this, just riding the waves and everyone's getting sick or not having a good time. The catamaran cruises are absolutely amazing. I wanted to immediately, I was like, well, I should get a little catamaran. And then, you get these delusions of grandeur when you're down there and you're like, oh, I could totally do this. And then you realize that, not a lot of sailing in Idaho. So, and I know that you guys mentioned that you guys just came back from St. Vincent, which obviously is the latest and greatest. You've got your background. Is there anything that you can kind of tell us that are kind of like insider tips or like anything you notice? I know, James, I know you mentioned that, the landscaping and just the actual location of the resort itself, but is there anything really unique that Sandals did with this resort that our clients should go to?
Absolutely. So one thing that is really, I'm stealing the mic, James.
I was giving you an opportunity.
One thing that I absolutely love that they did. So obviously it's in a huge valley, and with the valley and with rainforest, there's going to be rain, right? So what I love is, all of
liquid sunshine.
Liquid sunshine. Exactly. So they are kind of turning that into a positive rather than a negative. Like, oh, it's raining, I have to stay in my room. They're going to have photo shoots in the rain. They're going to have, we've designed the rooms, some of the rooms where they've got the fitness centers inside the rooms, the media centers inside of the rooms. They're going to have a rain concierge, all of these different activities for when it rains, which I find is it's something different, right? Because you're like, what am I going to do when it rains? Well, you're not going to run out of things to do at St. Vincent. So you're going to be good to go there.
I love the image before you answer, James. I love the image of like myself going out there and like flash dance, like just like back with the rain and having like the photo shoot and like someone telling me to work it and like, pout, like just like, and then being able to give that photo shoot to my wife. Like use the Epics photo people, get it nice and bound and everything, and then present that as a gift to my wife.
I'll be there for you in the rain. I'll say, Jay, lift your chin a little bit more. Lift it. Shoulders back.
Stick out, chin out, and forward, Jay, I joked with the sales team there actually that they're going to turn St. Vincent into the Sandals St. Vincent and the Grenadines into the first resort that gets complaints from guests that it didn't rain because of they imagine going on a vacation the whole time hearing about all these cool rain things. It doesn't rain the entire time you're there, and you didn't get to experience what your friend did 2 weeks ago. So it'll be an interesting way. But I will say this: something that stuck out to me for St. Vincent, Jay, is this by going to a lot of Sandals and Beaches resorts. We typically have a butler level rooms, and they're very similar, right? Depending on which resort you go to. It's similar at that particular resort. They're very different from resort to resort, but you might have 2 or 3 different kind of rooms, and there might be different variations, like this one's on the corner, this one's here. But for the most part, inside the room, they're the same. The amount of different butler villas at Sandals St. Vincent and the Grenadines blew my mind. The resort tour, we just talked about this on our own show the other day. Every time we walked into another room, it was like, why are we going to see another butler room? It looks the same on the outside. You go in, you're like, oh, this is why, because it's completely different. The shower was completely different. The restroom area was completely different. There was a foosball table in some. There was workout equipment in some. There was a media room in some. It was just completely, every room was so different. Mm-hmm. And I do like the fact, there's nothing more kind of like you get a luxury level room, and you're excited, you have it, but then you go back to your room and there's a few things, just like Christy said, the small details that you kind of like, you look across the way and you see the club level room or you see the butler room, you're like, man, it's raining or it's late in the evening, I'm done with dinner, I just want to relax in my room. That soaking tub looks great. I wish I would have upgraded to that room. Not at St. Vincent, you don't have to worry about that. Every room has an outdoor soaking, tranquility soaking tub. So to me, that I think sets it on a whole nother level.
This is St. Vincent in my background too.
Learn your left from right. She's like, look at the pool. I mean the tub.
Well, I mean, but that's a great point though. Like you have multiple options. Obviously, you've got the full luxury shower and everything,
Of
but then
course.
you've also got a pool, and then you walk out in your zero entry, crystal lagoon, sitting out in front of the room with your chairs and everything. So if you, I've got clients who talk to me all the time. They're like, it's funny that you mentioned that because they specifically want to go kind of turn during the rainy time because they love being able to sit out on their patio.
Yeah.
They love being sitting in the chairs, listening to the rain, watching everything. And I tell people all the time, it's just like Florida. It's not going to monsoon. This isn't, Thailand. It's not going to be 3 weeks of rain. It's rainstorm, hang out, go back to the room, change. Rain's gone, and it looks exactly like your background again. It's absolutely an amazing experience. And so I really appreciate Sandals for finding those really unique locations on the islands that allow for that natural experience, but then still we want to be able to hit back out of the pool, right, and take advantage of some of the entertainment out there. So and James, you mentioned something about all of the room categories and everything, which is kind of leading me into my next thing is in your opinion, what is the value that a travel agent or a travel advisor brings to a Sandals booking experience?
We have a lot of room categories, Jay, as you know.
Only
54 in beaches alone.
Only 15 at St. Vincent. Only 15.
But I cannot imagine a regular consumer trying to go on the website and trying to book what I want because you don't really know what you want. And then you start looking at the rooms and you're like, wait, is this room the same as this room? They're the same price? Or what am I missing? It's so valuable to use you as a travel advisor just because of the knowledge. There's twofold to this answer, right? The knowledge that you have of the resort and knowing how to put them in the room that they want, right? I always tell clients, they ask me this when I'm at trade shows and I'm there with an advisor. They always say, oh, I'm not really sure if I want to use an advisor. I'm like, the best thing you can do with your advisor is be open and honest with your budget and what you want. Because if you tell them your budget and what you want, I promise you they will find you the perfect thing, and things that you probably think didn't fit in your budget, they will make it happen. Also, the misconception that they think they have to pay for, there's like some sort of service charge or it's upcharge because they use a travel advisor. That is not the case. If any of the resorts or cruises made that a thing, it would cut out travel advisors, right? So no one's ever going to do that. So it is such a benefit to use a travel advisor, especially you, Jay, as someone that's an expert with it. And what Sandals and Beaches specifically does with you is gives you exclusive access, not just to the sales team and to your local BDMs and reps. It gives you exclusive access. If there's a problem on the resort, you have access to the general manager there, right? Not a lot of companies are going to give you as the advisor access to get a hold of them at any moment's notice to take care of your client's needs that may happen to be on resort. So to be able to go to the resort, and I stress this as an old resort worker a lot. A lot of people, something happens, and it could be completely the resort's fault, and that's fine. And you're upset as a client. The moment you break that human connection on the resort because you're upset and you can be justified, it's tough to bring that connection back. So if they're upset and they're able to contact back to the travel advisor, back to you, and let you take care of it behind the scenes, that human connection on resort is never broken. The trust is always there. They're still going to have a great time, and it's easier for the resort and everybody to get along. And then it lets you kind of handle in the back end. So it takes the stress away from the client. I think that's the most important thing.
I have a lot of WhatsApp messages in my phone taking care of clients, because honestly, stuff happens, right? Like I had a client here that just went down. It was her and her husband, and then her girlfriend and husband going down, and they got to the airport, bam, mechanical issue. And so, working with the resort, by the time they went and grabbed a cup of coffee and a burrito, because I told them to hang out in the airport, by the time they got their coffee and burrito at the airport, I'd already fixed their transportation, fixed their transfer to and from the resort. And I'd actually already moved their resort, just to be able to make sure that they could tag it on at the end of the day. So by the time they got their coffee and burrito and everything, it was already done.
Phenomenal.
Which is I take a lot of pride, but yeah, it's a lot of WhatsApp messages in my cell phone.
It just takes the stress away from the client, right? So instead of them blowing something up and it kind of ruining their vacation, they, like you said, they just go get a coffee and burrito. I will take care of it. You relax, and I will take care. And if there's any like arguing or whatever, hopefully there's not, but that's all done behind the scenes. It's not part of their vacation. You know, your goal as an advisor is to make sure they have the best possible vacation that they can have, right? And Sandals and Beaches gives you that access to take care of any issues that may come up. And this issue that the example you're giving had nothing to even really do with Sandals and Beaches, but you still had access to them to be able to take care of your clients once they were able to get there.
Good answer. Stealing all the thunder, but I have to add one thing to this because I always use this analogy to when I'm at shows. People ask me, why should I use a travel advisor? And my response is, well, do you go somewhere to get your hair cut? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, it's the same thing. Would you cut your own hair? Well, no. You're looking for an expert to cut your hair. So same thing with travel. You're just looking for an expert to really help you plan that vacation for you. It's something that you won't have to do. And they're like, oh, that is true. And I'm like, you're welcome. I'm like, and
we're cheaper. And we're cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I charge Sandals.
Very true.
And the other thing that we talk about all the time also is
you said 30 minutes each, right?
No. I've got like a minute and a half. I promised. Okay. So, a perfect example is also the customer service side. You kind of mentioned that, but the other thing is instead of them finding out this information, they're going, all right, guys, go ahead. I'm going to sit on hold and call this call center. They text me. They sent me a text. Jay, can you call me real quick? Bam. Called him from my cell phone. What's going on? They told me this story, not a problem. And as I'm fixing it, I can text them. And so it's a great method of communication. And we tell all of our clients, if I'm awake, I will answer the phone. So believe it or not, I have had conversations at 5:30 in the morning, all the way to 10:30 at night. That is way outside of normal customer service hours. And it's a great service that we provide to our clients. Once again, completely included in the booking services that we provide. So now, I'm going to give you guys 30 seconds each because I promised. And Christy, we'll go first. You can take as much time and step all over James if you want to. What's next for Sandals and Beaches Resorts, and what should we be keeping an eye out for?
Ooh, so if you are familiar with the Sandals and Beaches brand, people hear us talk a little bit about Sandals 2.0, right? So really taking everything to the next level. So for example, Dunn's River, one of my other favorite resorts, absolutely beautiful. Down the road, they are going to be doing a Royal Dunn's River. So, and that's going to be part of Sandals 2.0. So you're probably thinking, what can we expect? I can't tell you too much about it, but I can tell you that it's going to blow anything out of the water that we already have. They started that with, like I said, Dunn's River, Curacao. That was all part of Sandals 2.0. Then we got to see what they did with St. Vincent. Absolutely blew everything out of the water. I'm not kidding. It is phenomenal. I get chills talking about St. Vincent. It is absolutely amazing there. So to wait and see what they're going to do with Royal Dunn's River, I'm like, oh, what are you going to come up with next? Because I'm like, I'm trying to even think and compare, and I'm like, I cannot wait to see what they come up with there.
James, she gave you 4 seconds. Go.
Take her away.
Listen, I mean, she already brought up the fact that there's over the water stuff coming to Sandals Royal Dunn's River. So, there's nothing else for me to add. I would just say keep it, your listeners and watchers should keep an eye on you, Jay, because you're the expert. You're going to be on top of things being a CRC. Sometimes you get information faster than we do, and we run a podcast for the company. So, so
shout out Vanessa.
With you. Yeah.
Absolutely love it, guys. Thank you so much. As I promised, we're going to keep these episodes short for everyone that's going to be watching. This is supposed to be a great informational session. We're going to keep it light. We're going to keep it fun. We are going to continue to bring you experts from around the world, from all of our global destinations that we have. So James, Christy, thank you so much for coming on today, talking with myself and all of our fans and our valued clients here at 208 Travel Agency. On behalf of our family of travel advisors, thank you so much for your business and trusting us with your travel plans. And we look forward to seeing you guys on the islands. Take care.